Alright, so looking at this last example for this practice set, number 9, this problem, all we're given is two coordinates that are on the line. So now what we need to do is we need to use these two coordinates to find the slope of the given line, so then we can find a line that is parallel to it. So the first thing we need to do is find the slope of the given line. To do that, you're going to want to find your change in y over change in x. So remember, we have two y values and two x values. The change in y is just going to be, it doesn't matter the order you pick, I always go with the positive number first if I have one. It's going to do 5 minus that negative 2, because those are my two y values. So 5 minus negative 2 there. Then I'm going to do, on the bottom, my run, the change in x, so negative 7 minus my x1 value, negative 8. From here, I have change in y over change in x. I'm just going to simplify this. 5 minus negative 2. Well, those two negatives become positive. I get a 7. And then negative 7 minus negative 8. Again, negative minus becomes 2 positive. So negative 7 plus 8. That's technically 8 minus 7, or 1. So the slope is 7. So if I want to find a line parallel to this line that has those 2 points, all I need to do is make a line that has the slope that is the same as the original line, because that's what parallel lines have, the same slope. So all I got to do is I'm going to write a new equation that has a slope of 7. So my new equation is still going to be in that form y equals mx plus b, but I'm going to write it, and my m is going to be a 7. So y is equal to 7x plus, and then that b, remember, is that y-intercept. And we don't really know or care what that is at this point. So it doesn't matter. You could leave it blank. You could write a 5 if you wanted to. You could write any number you want. But this could be an equation of a line that's parallel to that given line there. And that's all. Alright. So based off these 3 examples, I want you guys to try problems 1, 7, and 11. Give those 3 a try. Go ahead and pause the video. Take about 5 minutes. Try those problems. And come back when the class is finished. Hey guys, welcome back. I hope problems 1, 5, and 11 went well for you. What I'd like to do now is take a look at a new type of problem. It's basically the same problem we've been looking at, except we're adding one piece to it. We're figuring out when it passes through a given point. So if we take a look at this, it says write an equation that is perpendicular to the line y equals 5, 6x plus 2 and passes through the point 5, negative 1. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to write an equation that's perpendicular to this one. We know how to do that already. So let's take a look. Remember, a perpendicular line has an opposite reciprocal slope to the given line. So if I take a look at this given line, my original slope is 5 over 6, because that's the number that's being multiplied by x. So the line, or the slope for my new line, has to be an opposite reciprocal. So this is 5 over 6. The opposite would be negative, and the reciprocal would be 6 over 5. So this is the slope of my new line in the form y equals mx plus b. So to get this new line, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to substitute in the slope, and I get y is equal to my slope, negative 6 over 5, times x plus b. Now, because I want to know a line that passes through this specific point, 5, -1. I have to, what I have to do is determine what is this b value going to be. So, to do that, I have to solve this equation for b. But the problem is, I have 3 variables in here. I have a y, an x, and a b. So what I need to do is I need to figure out what values can I use for the y and x so that my only variable is a b. Conveniently, they gave me a coordinate here. And isn't a coordinate just an x and a y? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these x and y values and substitute them into this equation. I'm going to substitute them in. So my y value is -1. So this y now becomes a -1. Is equal to, the slope's not changing, it's staying the same, that -6/5. I'm going to substitute in my x value here. X value from my coordinate is a 5. And then what I'm going to do is add that b value. So now my only variable in this equation is this b. And that's what I want to solve for. So first I got to simplify some stuff here. -1 can't do anything with. -6/5 times 5. And remember, this is like multiplying a fraction. When you multiply a fraction, multiply the tops and the bottoms. So if I look though, I have a 5 on top and a 5 on the bottom. So what that tells me is those 5s will cancel out from each other, because 5 divided by 5 is 1. Then I have 6/1, which is the same as just -6. And then I'm just going to bring down this plus b. So from here, all I have to do is solve this equation for b. So to do that, I got b -6. So to get rid of this -6, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Sides cancels. -1 plus 6 gives me a 5 is equal to b. And then my last step here is going to be rewrite this original equation, this one, but with the 5 in for b. So my new equation is y is equal to -6/5 x, and then plus or minus whatever that b value is. In this case, it's a +5. And that is my new equation for a line. So this line is perpendicular to the original, and it passes through and passes through (5, -1). So that's what I've just shown. Take a minute, see what you think. Pause if you guys need to pause to talk about some stuff. Rewind it if you're not sure exactly what I did. If you're ready to go ahead and move on, let the video continue. Next problem here, same exact idea. We're going to write the equation of a line that goes through 2, 4 and is parallel to this equation. So key thing we're looking at here is parallel. So keep in mind, parallel means the line will have the same slope. So I'm going to look at my original line, determine the slope of that line. In this case, the slope is 1/4. So my new line has to have the same slope of 1/4. And again, I'm going to take that. So now that I know the slope of the new line, I'm going to use my formula y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form. Substitute in that slope value. Y is equal to slope of 1/4, because I want to be a parallel, so it needs to be the same, x plus b. And remember, because it has to go through this point 2, 4, I need to figure out what that b value is. So to figure out what that b value is, what I'm going to do is substitute in these values into the equation. 2 is my x, 4 is my y. So substitute in 4 for y is equal to 1/4 my x value 2. Remember guys, when I substitute, I like to put it in parentheses so I know I have to do something with it since I substituted it in, plus the b value. So from here we just need to simplify this. 4 can't do anything with 1/4 times 2. Now that's the same as 1/4 times 2 over 1. So that is going to be the same as 2 over 4 plus b. And 2 over 4, isn't that just a half? So I have 4 is equal to 0.5 plus b. So now I'm going to solve this equation for b, because that's my end goal anyway. And that's why I substituted an x and y earlier, so that my only variable would be that b. So now I'm going to subtract that 0.5 from both sides. This side cancels this side. I get 3.5 is equal to b. Now remember in the last example, now that we know b, we're going to take it and we're going to substitute it back into that original equation. So we should get y is equal to 1/4 x plus whatever my b value is, in this case, 3.5. So this line we just created is parallel to y is equal to 1/4 x plus 11, and it goes through point 2, 4. And that's it. Okay guys, so if you're good on that, go ahead and let the video continue to play. If you need to take a minute, look back, maybe rewind a little bit, that's fine. But if you are ready, what I'd like you guys to do is give this one a try on your own. So go ahead, pause the video, take about 3 minutes, give it a try, and then we'll take a look at the answer you should have got. Alright guys, so here's my work for this problem. Go ahead and check your work and see if you agree there. If you're not sure what happened in this problem, I recommend asking a neighbor, see if you can get some help from them, and take a look at my work and see what I did to get my final answer here. Okay? Alright. What I'd like you guys to do now is I'd like you to try problems 3, 5, 9, and 11. So each of these problems is just like the ones we've done. So I would take it's probably going to take about 2 to 3 minutes for each problem. So we'll take about 15 minutes here. I'm sorry, 12 minutes here. And pause the video, take some time to do it, come back to check your answers. So go ahead and pause now, take about 12 minutes. And if there's not enough time, go ahead and just check out the answers now and get them down so you can work on them later. Okay guys, so here are the answers for each of those problems. If you need to take a minute to look over them, you can, that's fine. Just go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so once you've taken a look at those, make sure if you have any questions, maybe ask a neighbor around you, see if you can get some help. From there, let's do a quick recap of what we learned so far today. So the key things that I want you guys to take away are these two questions. So take a minute, think about the answers to those two questions. Okay, if you haven't paused, you should do that just to make sure you got those two answers. And alright, so to get these two answers, perpendicular lines have what types of slopes? Well, they have opposite reciprocal slopes and parallel lines. So if the slope of two lines is the same, so slope is the same, and the y-intercept is different, what types of lines are they? Well, these types of lines would be parallel lines, because remember, parallel lines have the same slope. And if their y-intercept was the same,